Disclaimer: this video contains spoilers. The author uses Google Translate. The author does not condone the character's actions. If you have a different opinion about the character, that's fine. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'll read and answer it for sure. If you notice a mistake, please point it out in the comments. Enjoy! Hello everyone! Watching TikTok, I've noticed a lot of hate towards Shadow Milk. Mostly, I've seen people hate him because they misunderstand the plot. So this video was created to clarify the situation and show that Shadow Milk is actually a well-written character. I'd also like to point out that all the beasts are morally gray characters. So, let's start at the beginning of his story to understand how Shadow became who we know him as today. The witches baked 5 virtue cookies and bestowed upon them soul gems. With this power, they were supposed to guide the cookies on the true path and help them prosper. In times past, he was known as the Fount of Knowledge. The witches gave him the soul gem of knowledge, and he was supposed to spread this knowledge among the cookies. One important point to note here: the beasts were baked as adults. Unlike the ancients, they hadn't gone through the most important stage of life, childhood. Because of this, the beasts perceived the world differently. For example, they couldn't understand why cookies could rejoice over ordinary little things. They were also immortal. So let's continue. Shadow Milk, as the Fount of Knowledge, fulfilled the purpose bestowed upon him by the witches. However, the cookies constantly asked him stupid questions. The Fount of Knowledge didn't understand them and found it difficult to answer them, which caused the cookies to become distrustful of him. Shadow Milk himself was exhausted. He'd been questioned for millennia. He dreamed of meeting someone with whom he could share his knowledge and spend time discussing science, philosophy, and other topics. Meanwhile, the witches abandoned the cookies. This puzzled Shadow Milk. He couldn't understand where they had gone, since he considered them close. In episode 14, Beast East, there was a flashback where the cookies asked questions about witches. Shadow Milk didn't know how to answer correctly. If he told the truth, the cookies would be shocked and despairing. If he lied, they would be happier. Thus, the Fount of Knowledge realized that when he lied, the cookies became happier. He continued to lie because he believed he was doing it for the good. Later, the cookies learned that the Fount of Knowledge's words weren't coming true. They decided he had been lying to them from the very beginning and began to doubt his identity as a messenger of the gods. Without understanding the situation, cookies immediately accused him of lies and betrayal. It's important to clarify one thing here. In the Korean dub, the cookies say they want to execute Shadow Milk. This isn't the case in the English translation. I don't know why, but in the English version, some parts seem to be deliberately censored, or the translators made a mistake. This has led to theories in the fandom that Shadow Milk was actually executed, even though we weren't shown it directly. I have 2 theories about why Shadow Milk survived his execution. The first theory: I think the power of the soul gem prevented him from dying. In episode 15, Beast East, we see him remain alive even after Silent Salt stabbed him. The second theory: it wasn't Shadow Milk himself who attended the execution, but an illusion of him, and thus he faked his death. If you look at the sprites, the Fount of Knowledge's dough is darker than Shadow Milk's. It's possible that Shadow Milk's dough lightened to indicate that he's a walking dead, since dead people are usually depicted with pale skin. By the way, this theory came from TikTok. I just liked it, so I decided to include it in the video. Well, after this, Shadow Milk was disappointed. He realized he'd wasted his time on them. He considered them stupid because it was easier for them to shift the blame onto someone else than to understand the situation. The cookies didn't understand what Shadow Milk was saying. They preferred to believe the rumors and go after someone who was simply fulfilling his destiny. From this, Shadow Milk concluded, why dance to their tune if they'll believe anyone but him anyway? From that day on, he began staging his performances of lies. He did this to get the witches to notice him and to show them how Val cookies could be. After this, Shadow Milk was sealed in the Silver Tree for several thousand years. He thought the witches had locked him away and became disillusioned with them. But we know very well who was really responsible. A lot of time passes after this. Soul Gem's power was divided, and thus the ancients were born. Shadow Milk was furious. He had been replaced. How did he know this? It's simple. In episode 2, Beast East, Shadow Milk admitted that he had been following Pure Vanilla from the very beginning. We can also see this on the map in the episode Forgotten Academy in Crispia. Furthermore, a portrait of the Academy's first director, Blueberry Yogurt, was often displayed next to Shadow Milk. I suspect Shadow Milk was the director or had some connection to the Academy. There's currently no definitive information on this matter. After this, Dark Enchantress weakened the seal on the silver tree, and Shadow Milk escaped. Important clarification. The beasts' souls were sealed within the silver tree. After Dark Enchantress freed them, she began creating new bodies for them using life energy. So Shadow Milk intended to reclaim his soul gem, and through trickery, he lured Pure Vanilla and his friends into his spire of deceit. Gradually, he began to drive Vanilla mad, replacing his memories with lies. As a result, Vanilla became a truthless recluse, and Shadow Milk wondered, how far could he corrupt him? Shadow Milk eventually got his soul gem, but Vanilla told him, "Why would you need soul gem when I can join you?" Shadow didn't expect this and accepted the offer, realizing he'd found the one cookie who was like him and shared his feelings. But it all turned out to be a lie. Pure Vanilla had tricked Shadow Milk. Afterwards, Vanilla offered to be his friend, seeing a small drop of loneliness in him. But Shadow Milk refused. In his eyes, Pure Vanilla became yet another traitor. Shadow Milk never admits to being lonely. He believes he doesn't need anyone, because he's afraid of being betrayed again. After this, Dark Enchantress invites all the beasts to the hotel. Here, we can see the relationships between the beasts. Shadow Milk considers them friends and often teases them, while the other beasts simply see him as a clown. Shadow Milk also has a good relationship with Candy Apple and Black Sapphire. It's clear he cares for them, although he can sometimes get carried away and turn them into cards. However, I think he still has his limits. Dark Enchantress manages to negotiate a cooperation with the beasts, and thus begins the Second Dark Flare War. Shadow Milk, already exhausted, approaches Dark Enchantress's lair, and there he learns the bitter truth. The one he considered a friend has betrayed him. It turns out it was Silent Salt who sealed them, not the witches. Silent Salt then plunged his sword into him. Silent Salt cast a spell, sealing the beasts. The judgment of silence, he exclaimed. Afterwards, we see Shadow Milk's heartfelt monologue. He doesn't understand why the witches abandoned them. Tormented by memories of the past, he tries to escape the spell by urging the other beasts to join him. At that moment, he realizes that Dark Enchantress only needed them as ingredients, and therefore their time is running out. Shadow Milk sees that his friends are beyond saving, so he reaches the ultimate oven and takes a piece of the ultimate dough to survive, taking the souls and strength of his comrades. He then taunts Silent Salt and wants to take his soul gem powers, but Silent Salt shatters his soul gem. Shadow Milk doesn't despair. He travels to the space-time rift to exact revenge on Silent Salt in the past. After all the betrayals, Shadow Milk has become completely disillusioned with the world. He hates everyone who hurt him and wants to create his own world of chaos, to take revenge on everyone who once betrayed him. In the first episode, Line of Fate, Shadow has a dialogue with himself. The souls of the ultimate test are trying to take control of his body, and we realize that Shadow simply wants to be noticed. He puts on his shows only to be seen, because deep down, he suffers from loneliness. No one was there for him when he was down, which is why he became this way. Even when his plan came to fruition and the entire world descended into chaos, Shadow Milk felt only despair. What he wanted had come true, but the emptiness of loneliness remained. Well, I love this character. It makes me sad to see Shadow Milk trying to use revenge to numb his loneliness. I just want him to be happy in the end, even if just for a few seconds. His loneliness reminds me of me, only I found my close friends and Shadow Milk didn't. This makes me even sadder. I hope this video helped me see this character from a different perspective. Thanks for watching. Bye!